So do you want to start or should I start?
Brother, are you okay if I record this as well?
I mean, if one person's recording it, I don't know what difference it makes if two people record it.
You can
Are
start.
you? Is it okay with it or not? I don't American English not very good, but is it yes, no, or
Yeah, it's
Yes,
fine
it's
with
okay.
me. I don't have a problem.
okay? Thanks.
I mean, yeah, there's two ways. There's two ways that we can do this. Like you suggested, either I can just start talking, or you can tell me what your specific objections are. The advantage of the latter is that if you start laying out your specific objections, it gives me a better idea of what your current level of education on the topic is. So I don't just have to start fishing for how much you already know and about what and everything else,
Sure.
right? So it's a little bit it'd probably be a little bit of a time savings if
Sure,
you
I
wanted
can
to
do
start.
that. So, the main problem I have with evolution is that all of the arguments given for it, such as the fossil record and etc., are acknowledged by even mainstream evolutionary biologists as not matching to evolutionary expectations. So, one example of is the fossil record, which does not match Darwinian expectations or neo-Darwinian expectations, since it is not gradual. In fact, it's sudden and abrupt. And this is not just the case with Cambrian explosion, this is the problem throughout the history of life. So I can give references for this, but I think you might already be familiar with most of them, but you can respond.
Okay. Yeah, so it's probably best if we take things one at a time. So I think that the first thing there is that you have a misapprehension as to what evolutionary theory would predict with respect to the fossil record, right? So if you're going to say that if you're going to say that the observations contradict the expectations of evolutionary theory, you first have to understand what the expectations of evolutionary theory are. So if you have a really naive understanding of what evolutionary theory would expect with respect to the fossil record, you might naively think that evolutionary theory would expect extremely smooth transitions for every single species or every single clade or what have you, right? But of course, that's not what evolutionary theory expects at all, right? So what evolutionary theory expects with respect to the fossil record is that to the extent that fossils are preserved at all, right, they should show records of species in times and in places that are consistent with reasonable rates of phenotypic and morphological change and evolution, along with expected rates of geographic patterns, right? So in other words, if you have something like, say, bats, right? These are small animals that have very thin bones that live in really wet, like wet jungle environments. These are not living fossils, right? You would not expect to find a lot of bat fossils. And so the idea that the evolutionary theory would predict that we would have a really clean and smooth transitional series for bats is simply misunderstanding what evolution expects, right? On the other hand, when you talk about, say, a really populous species of small shallow water fish, for instance, right? There you would expect to see a fairly comprehensive fossil record, and in fact, we tend to have extensive, smooth fossil records for such species, right? But again, fossilization is not like it's not like every single animal that's ever lived fossilizes. Barely any of them do, right? So how often we get fossils is dependent on where those animals live, the conditions under
Uh,
which they die, and so on and so on
Can
and
I
so
just
on.
respond?
And in
Because
fact,
CRISPR, it seems
and in
like
fact,
you are talking for a long time and making multiple
yeah, well,
points, and things get
yeah. So
lost in the shuffle.
I'll just round that point off. And in fact, what we see in the fossil record is exactly consistent with evolutionary theory. So that's just the close.
Okay, so I'll respond to this point. Firstly, there's a lot of problems with it. The main problem is that one thing, the fossil record does not match evolutionary expectations. This is not my claim, and this is the claim from mainstream evolutionary biologists, dozens of them. Secondly, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying the fossil record has to always be gradual, but it has to be, at least there has to be sufficient gradualism in there, and it is not there, not according to me, according to mainstream evolutionary biologists themselves, dozens of them. And I posted a reference from Stephen Jay Gould. I can post dozens and dozens of references in this regard. And this problem of missing fossils is not just present in one particular case, such as, for instance, this is not just the case of Cambrian explosion, it is present throughout the history of life, firstly. Secondly, I think there's a major problem with the claim that fossil record supports evolution. Here is why. The fossil record, either it can be gradual or it can be sudden and abrupt. In most cases, it is abrupt. So the claim from atheist side or the evolutionary biologist side is that the
Real fast. You said it can
CRISPR.
either be
Let me just
something
finish my
or it can
point.
be abrupt. What was the something? No, I just didn't hear a word. It can
Okay.
either be something or it can be abrupt. I didn't hear the
I said
the
it
first
can
thing.
be gradual or abrupt.
Right, got it. Thanks.
Okay, so here's the point I make. I'm not reading off a script right now. I think someone posted in the comment. Here's the point I'm making. The fossil record can either be gradual or it can be abrupt. Here is the problem with atheist claim or the evolutionary biologist claim. If it is gradual, then it is said that it's evidence for evolution. When the fossils are missing or the record is abrupt, that is still compatible with evolution. Here is the problem. How is this argument falsifiable? If it's gradual, it fits with evolution. If it's not gradual, it still fits with evolution. This is not falsifiable, therefore it's not scientific evidence. Now, I posted one reference in this regard, the fossil record contradicting evolution. If you like, I can post references from basically all of the history of life uh, where the fossil record contradicts evolution. For instance, it contradicts in bird evolution, mammal evolution, in Cambrian explosion, and there are various other explosions in the history of life. So again, the claim is from the evolutionary side that some fossils being present proves evolution. The absolutely massive amount of fossils being absent, then going by your own logic, it would be an argument against evolution. But it's not. There is no falsifiability here. I think you're just cherry picking the arguments you like and discarding the things you don't like. You can respond while I just gather some references. If you like, you can
Okay.
respond.
Yeah. So you put forward in that response two problems. What you said your main problem. Well, your main problem was just you repeating the thing that I had already corrected, right? So it in fact does match. It in fact does match evolutionary expectations, and if you're talking about dozens and dozens of mainstream biologists who say it doesn't match, I can guarantee without even looking at your references that in fact what they are saying is that X, Y, or Z is perhaps unexpected given evolutionary theory or whatever else. Not that it contradicts. To your second point, which is that that the fossil record can either be gradual or abrupt. Well, no. So firstly, the fossil record could be gradual, it could be abrupt, it could be a combination of both, but more importantly than that, the fossil record could be neither gradual nor abrupt and could in fact be completely mixed up, right? You could in fact have fossils completely out of sequence, right? Completely out of sequence everywhere, with no geographic pattern, with no temporal pattern, with no morphological pattern, and so forth, right? And so And so basically, the issue here is that it's not a problem for a theory that there are multiple possible observations that are compatible with that theory. Okay, so for instance, if I say that over the past 20 years I've made $1 billion, right? Well, I could have gotten $1 billion in one lump sum, right? Or I could have gotten many millions of dollars every year for the past 20. And both of those would be consistent with my claim that I've made $1 billion, right? What would not be consistent with that claim is if you look in my bank account and you see I've got no money, I've got no history of large deposits, no news articles about me being rich or anything else, right? So all of these things, those are the types of contradictory evidence. So again, the question isn't how gradual is our fossil record. The question is, given the record that we have, does that record correspond to evolutionary predictions, or does it contradict those predictions? Contradicting those predictions would be fossils being out of sequence, right? Fossils being out of geographic sequence, temporal sequence, morphological sequence, or whatever, okay? That's not what you see, okay? There are no rabbits in the Precambrian, right? Doesn't happen. So, so that is how you the falsification criteria. It's not, oh, well, there's no fossil of this. It's there is a fossil of this, and good God, look where it is. That makes no sense.
Can I respond now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will get into biogeography later because that is a different topic, right? And to be honest, I want to go into later. Now, I have references here from mainstream evolutionary biologists. You are saying that all of them don't match evolutionary explanation, that they are not saying this. I'll just give two right now. I can find more even. The more time is there, I can quote more references. For instance, you mentioned fish earlier, right? I have a reference from Arthur.
Can you put it on the side so I can find it online?
Sure.
Rather than just read it out, it's just easier for me to search the text.
Sure. I'm posting one of them here. Actually, one of them is regarding plants and other is like fish. I've posted it there, but I'll read it as well. Regarding the origin of major fish groups, former Columbia University geoscientist Arthur Storrell writes that this is one count in the creationist chart that can only evoke in unison from paleontologists a plea of no contiendere, no contest, meaning he accepts this. And let me just read one. Actually, I'll read. This is from R.S.K.
Well,
Barnes.
Arthur Stoller is not a mainstream biologist, so.
Is Stephen Jay Gould a mainstream biologist? I'll just read one from him. It's simpler. And Niles Eldredge. I will read one of them each and I'll post it there. So this is a reference from Gould. This is from his work in 1982. All paleontologists know that the fossil record contains precious little in the ways of intermediate forms. Transitions between major groups are characteristically abrupt. And the second reference is from Niles Eldredge. No wonder paleontologists shied away from evolution for so long. It never seemed to happen. A studious collecting up cliff faces yields a rate too slow to account for all the prodigious change that has occurred in evolutionary history. What we do see, the introduction of evolutionary novelty, it usually shows up with a bang and often with no firm evidence that the fossil did not evolve elsewhere. So I'll just post these references here. Now, here's the problem with your claim. Your claim regarding falsification was that one of your claims was that the fossil record doesn't have to be gradual, it doesn't have to be abrupt, it can be something in between. I agree with this 100%. But the fossil record is not like this. It is gradual, it is abrupt, it's not gradual. And even paleontologists, mainstream, let me just finish this point, then you can respond. Mainstream paleontologists agree with this point. I'll just briefly address the point about falsification that you made. Firstly, you said that because some fossils show up in the right sequence, that is evidence for evolution. I don't think that is the case. Here's why, and this is a simple point about falsification. Maybe you can address this again. Here is a problem for falsification and the fossil record as evidence for evolution. If presence of fossils, transitional fossils, is evidence for evolution, then surely using the logic you are using, logic of falsification, absence of fossils should be evidence against evolution. Now you can disagree with this, right? But this is the criteria of falsification. There is no way around this. Secondly, here's something I will agree with on you. Just because a particular fossil is absent, that doesn't mean evolution is false. And if the fossil record was not reliable, right, you could say even the absence of vast majority of fossils does not prove evolution is wrong. In principle, there is nothing wrong with this point. But this cannot be evidence for evolution. Just because something is compatible with evolution, or you can refute a contention against evolution, that does not mean it is evidence for evolution. Just to give a brief example, suppose a theist can refute the problem of evil. That is not evidence for God. That does not prove God exists. That just refutes the problem of evil. That just refutes an atheist argument. In same way, you can refute a contention I'm making against evolution, right? You can say the fossil record is the fossils are absent because of a bad fossil record, but this still isn't evidence for evolution. So these are my arguments against your claims. You can respond.
Yeah, sure. So the first thing is all of your quotes are quote mines. For instance, I'll just take the one from Gould. It's actually quote 41 from the Talk Origins quote mine project, completely taken out of context, and basically whoever told you that quote is lying to you. And I can tell that you've never actually read Gould because, well, if you have read Gould, you are lying right now. But I'm actually going to assume that merely you were lied to. And you can actually just go and read the panda's thumb, read the full context of the quote for yourself, and I can of course link to a broader context of that quote that shows basically how creationists have frequently dishonestly quote-minded. The same is true for the rest of your quotes, which is basically what I expected. Amazing how I can make predictions and have them come true. Anyway, you also said that if the existence of some fossils is evidence for evolution, then the lack of fossils or lack of other fossils is evidence against evolution. No, that's not right at all. So that's like saying that the existence of some evidence that a murder happened is evidence that for the murderer's guilt, but the absence of certain other evidence is evidence that he's innocent. No, it is not. That's not how that works, right? So what you have in the fossil record is a series of positive evidence, okay? Now, the existence of positive evidence is not refuted by the absence of other positive evidence, okay? You would have to have a completely novel refutation of the positive evidence itself. Merely lacking other positive evidence can never be evidence against, right? Now, the best you could do is argue that the absence of expected evidence is evidence of absence, right? That's the best you can do. But the problem is, again, the evidence isn't expected, right? We don't have an absence of expected evidence. What we have, in fact, is an overabundance of evidence. We have more evidence than we would expect, right? So let me just check my notes as you were talking to see if there was anything else to respond to. No, that was basically the run of it.
Can I respond now?
Yeah.
Sure. So firstly, I am not lying about Gould's claims. I think you are, and I'll give a simple.
You were lying too.
Let me just finish this point. I've posted a reference here. This is from a paper in 2022. It's a mainstream paper from mainstream evolutionary biologist. This is an abstract for that paper, right? This paper is arguing that gradual evolution is back, that new evidence is coming that showing evolution is back. And this is actually, the paper is not basing itself on fossils, it's just coming with new theories. The fact they are saying that gradual evolution is back shows that gradual evolution was not present. The claim regarding fossil records, it's not something I'm making, it's present in the fossil records. And I'm not misquoting Gould or anything. In fact, this paper is showing
Yes,
this
you
point.
are.
Look, I let you speak.
You are in fact misquoting Gould.
CRISPR, I let you speak without interruption, right? Just let me speak.
Well, but I didn't lie, so
I am not lying.
difference.
I think you
yes,
did lie.
you are literally lying.
CRISPR, you did lie regarding
So
Gould,
here's
but
the thing.
I didn't interrupt
So here's
you.
the thing.
Look,
You are.
CRISPR,
no,
I let you speak without
So
interruption.
just to be clear,
finish his statement. Let him finish his statement.
CRISPR,
okay,
look,
I'm gonna mute Mr. World. So if he doesn't stop interrupting. So
look,
so here's the
CRISPR,
thing.
you are lying. Look,
Okay.
I didn't interrupt you. Let me finish my point and then you can respond. I think you were lying there. I think there is good evidence for you lying. But just let me finish my point and then you can respond. Right? That sounds fair. Now, here's why I think there is evidence for you lying and me not misquoting Gould. This paper is saying this.
Okay,
paper,
well,
CRISPR,
so
let
anyway,
me
sorry,
finish my point.
I don't know the actual. Okay, hold on a minute. I don't know the
Look,
actual commands to do this. I don't usually make rooms. Anyway, I posted a link showing you how creationists have historically lied about what Gould said with
CRISPR,
the exact quote
let
that
me
you
finish
used
this
out
point.
of context in the exact same way.
Firstly, CRISPR,
Secondly,
look,
and this is important. Secondly,
why
and
aren't
this
you
is
letting me
important.
finish
You are
my point?
currently.
CRISPR, look,
And this is.
I let you speak without
Stop.
interruption. No. I let you speak without interruption for multiple
I know
minutes.
more than you. I get to overtalk you, and you don't.
You don't.
That's how
if
that
you are
works.
lying, you don't get
So,
to overtalk
if you don't-
me. This is a reference from 2022.
If you don't
CRISPR,
like me correcting your lies, stop lying.
you are lying.
Here's the thing.
You are being exposed as a liar here. CRISPR,
Here
is the problem for
Stop
you.
Talking.
Shut up now, I'm
Here's
talking. This is a paper from 2022,
can somebody who's
14
done this
years
before tell
after
me how to
Gould.
mute?
This paper is saying that gradual evolution is coming back now, meaning it was not there before. This is confirming what Gould said. This is confirming that gradual evolution has been absent based on the fossil record. This paper is exposing your lies. There is simply no way around this. As for misquoting Gould and basically
yes, there is.
lying,
You want to know what it is?
It is exposing your lie. CRISPR, let me finish my point.
No, I'm gonna reply to what you just said.
Okay, I will reply to what you said. There are no bigger liars than evolutionary biologists in this regard. And the simple example of it is
projection.
No, it's not. It's a fact. There is simplest evidence of this is what this paper is saying. I'm not quote mining. This paper is what I posted is the abstract of a paper. It's the entire abstract.
Do you want to deal with the fact that you're lying about Gould, or do you want to
I'm
deal
not
with the fact
lying.
that
You
you're
are
lying
the
about
one
the
who's
paper?
lying.
Which
You
one
are
do
the
you want
one
to deal
who's
with?
lying.
Pick one.
CRISPR, why can't you shut up and let me speak? I let you speak without interruption. You are lying again and again and not letting me speak. It seems you're getting emotional.
Pick one.
Why are you getting emotional?
Pick one.
Why are you getting emotional?
Pick one.
Why are you getting emotional?
Do you want to talk about the paper?
Why are you getting emotional?
Why
are you getting emotional? Why can't you
look,
let
you
someone else
coward,
speak?
Shut up.
You spineless bitch,
listen.
shut up when I'm
talking.
talking.
You want to talk about the paper?
No, why can't you shut up when I'm talking?
Or do you want to talk about the quote
That
line?
paper is refuting your claim.
And you're lying and you're an idiot.
You are the lying. You are the person who's lying here. Here's what this paper is saying, and I'll read it again.
Do you want to talk about the paper?
I'll read the abstract of the paper. Abrupt shifts in the evolution of animals, short periods of time when an organism rapidly changes size or form, have long been a challenge for theorists including Darwin. What is this paper saying? This paper is saying that the same point I was making, that this has been a long-held challenge to Darwinian evolution, that fossil record is not gradual. How am I lying when this paper is saying the same point I'm making 40 years after Gould what said? Like, you can't get dumber and dishonest than this.
Do you want to know why you're lying?
Now you can respond.
You have to stop talking to hear. Here's how you're lying. The first thing is, what you quoted is not from the paper. It is from a pop-sci write-up on a different paper. Here's the thing about pop-sci write-ups. They're not particularly accurate, generally speaking. Secondly, gradual evolution and punctuated evolution, neither of them contradict a broader concept of evolution. saying that there is a debate about whether evolution proceeds by in a punctuated fashion or a gradualistic fashion, neither of those things is contradicting evolution. So you're already wrong as it is on its face, but also by presenting a pop sci write-up as though it were the actual paper, that is dishonest. Okay, so I don't know why you did that. I'm guessing it's because you don't know the difference between the actual paper and a pop sci write-up. Now, do you want to go back and actually read the actual paper? That would probably be a good idea for you. Now, here's the thing. Saying that, here is this paper that shows that the gradualism is actually correct, and that what everybody had always been saying about gradualism is actually correct, is not an argument that gradualism is wrong. Now, is it? Obviously not.
That is strawmanning my argument.
Okay.
That is strawmanning my argument. Firstly, the reference I posted, is it from a creationist website? The paper is being summarized by mainstream scientific. It's a mainstream scientific website. Are the people posting it somehow creationists? No, these are atheists, most cases atheists, but certainly believers in evolutionary biology. So you cannot make a claim of bias or misunderstanding here. This is exactly what the paper is saying. First point.
Make an argument of
Secondly,
misunderstanding.
What is your obsession with interrupting other people?
It's a pop sci.
You can't make that argument. Who is making that argument? These are mainstream atheist evolutionary biologists and the people making this website. This is a mainstream website.
Pop sci write-ups.
What website is this? What website am I quoting from? CRISPR, what website am I quoting from?
I believe you were quoting from Science Direct.
Science Daily, I think.
Or Science both. Daily, yeah, one of the two. Science Daily.
It is a creationist website?
No, it's a pop sci website.
It's an pop science website, right? Who is running this website? Is it creationist?
It's people who are not mainstream biologists who frequently get things wrong as they try to exaggerate.
Can you prove they are getting these wrong? This is a mainstream website that is widely accepted. How can you just randomly assert that they are getting things wrong? Can you link the actual paper, CRISPR? Link the paper.
Because I've seen
CRISPR, link the paper, right?
Sure,
you can read the paper. Link the paper. Let's read its abstract and read the paper. Let's see who's lying.
Yeah, so there's the actual paper. By the way, reading abstracts is what people who don't know how science work does.
So are you saying that these people are lying in the abstracts?
No, I'm saying that
who's writing these abstracts?
Hold on. Firstly, I'm not saying that anybody, either in the original paper or the pop sci write-up, are lying. I'm saying that people who do pop sci write-ups exaggerate results for clicks and views.
Here's the problem for your claim. The same point that is made in the pop science write-up, it is present in the abstract of this paper as well. Now, abstract of this paper was also written by mainstream evolutionary biologists. I'll do everyone here a favor and read this abstract. Macroevolution posed difficulties for Darwin and later theorists because species phenotypes frequently change abruptly or experience long period of stasis, both counter to the theory of incremental change or gradualism. This is the entire point I was making, the entire point Gould was making.
So just to be clear, the entire point that you were making is that evolution is evidently true, but possibly not gradual.
That's not the point I'm making. Why are you strawmanning my words?
Okay, well, if that's not, so the thing is, if that's not
here's
the point
the problem
that you're making,
for you. Since you interrupted me for hours, right? You interrupted the entire time I was speaking. I'll do the same.
Here's the thing.
This paper is saying macroevolution posed difficulties.
So hold on.
Yeah, I can be louder as well. Macroevolution posed difficulties for Darwin and later theorists because species phenotypes, this is the relevant point, frequently change abruptly or
I absolutely
experience
guarantee
long
that I
period
have
of
more
stresses,
endurance and more
both
volume than you.
counter
So
to
you
the
gotta have to
theory
stop
of
talking here so I can
incremental
make my
change
point.
or
Whenever you want to
gradualism.
stop talking and let me
Now,
make my
I
point,
have
I'm
a
going to do it.
question
But you
for
got to
you,
stop talking so I can
CRISPR,
make my
and I
point.
would like
Hey,
you
when are you
to
going to
answer
stop
it.
talking so I can make my
Why
point?
were
Because
you
I can
lying?
definitely go longer than you
Answer
and
my
I be
question.
louder
Why
than you
were
and
you
have more
lying?
endurance than you. So when are you going to stop talking so I can make
CRISPR,
my point? Whenever you want to
why are
stop
you
talking so
lying?
I can make my point, that'd be great. Are you going to stop
Answer my
talking
question.
so I
Why
can
are
make
you
my point
lying?
anytime soon here? I got to make my point here for you. You got to stop talking so I can do it. Oh, are you done? Have
Why
I
are you
worn you
lying,
around? Great.
CRISPR? Answer my
Oh no,
question.
you're gonna keep going. Oh, I gotta keep going now because you won't
Answer my
stop talking
question.
so I
Why
can
are
make
you
my point.
lying?
I can keep talking over you for as long as I need to keep making
Why
my
are you
point.
lying?
You have no idea. I'm a former saxophone player. My lungs are real big. I can keep going for a very, 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 very,
You
very
can
long
make
time with a lot
noise,
of volume.
but
I'm
you
not
don't
even
make
trying to raise my
sense.
volume right
Why
now.
are you
I'm just
lying,
talking right
CRISPR?
now. Oh, I believe me,
Answer
I can
my
keep going over
question.
you this entire time. I'll never stop.
CRISPR,
You will definitely
why are
lose.
you
I
lying?
guarantee you I will win. I guarantee 100% that I will win and
Can
outlast
you
you. So
answer
you're
my
just going to have to
question?
stop
Why are
talking
you
and let me
lying?
make my point. Are you going to let me make my point or are you going to stop talking?
I
Oh,
think
wait,
you have
which is going to
made
be,
your
I think,
point
oh,
with your
wait, no, yeah, you're
desperation.
still going, you're still going, you're
Why are
still
you
going. When are you
lying?
going to stop talking so I can make my point? Are you
Okay,
going to make,
here's what I'm
you going
going
to
to
stop
do.
talking so I can make my point or are you just going
Answer
to see
my
who's
question.
got
Why
that
are you
longer
lying?
endurance? Because
I'll
I
give you
guarantee it's
5
me.
seconds,
I
and after
guarantee
that, I'm
100%
not
that
done
it's me
wasting
that
my
has the
time
longer
here.
endurance. So I'm going to keep going until you stop
5,
talking. When's it going to
4,
be? When are you going to
What's
stop
going on?
talking so I can
3,
make my point? Because I guarantee I can
2,
outlast you and keep going
1.
longer than you will because I have
Okay,
more
you can
endurance and
keep
more
talking,
volume than you will
but to be
ever be
honest,
able
I
to do
think you have just
because
refuted
you
your
just
own
have
position.
no